Hey everybody, Mark here again with exoticcarplayplace. And today I'm standing in front of my 2006 BMW E60 M5. And I'm going to talk today about why this engine is not only probably the best designed engine by BMW and its affiliates, and as well, it's probably one of the best engines ever produced in the world. Let's find out why. I'll talk some details. The BMW M5 derived from the 5 Series cars, but is produced from the M division, performance division of BMW. Now, what makes the E60 special? Well, BMW has always produced 6 cylinders, V8s in the last E39, but then they hit the E60 and they produced a V10 engine. Then after that V10 ran its course, they went back down to a V8 and turbocharged it. So what's unique about this? Well, we've gone up from V6s or inline 6s, we've gone up to V8s, to V10s, back down to V8s, and because of the world crisis, the oil crisis, and being for the sake of green, a lot of these companies are going with smaller turbocharged engines, and as a result, the V10 will likely never come back, and definitely they would not likely ever see a V12. Obviously, the big executive cars still use those larger engines, but that concept is going away, and the M5 likely will never see a V10 motor again. So that in itself is one of the key elements why this car is so sought after. So more about the E60. There has been many derivatives of the E60. The E60 is the 5 Series high-performance sedan. The E61 is the same sedan, but it's actually stretched, and we have a sport wagon. It looks like a little mini SUV or a wagon of sorts. A sport wagon, of course. Then there's the E63, which is basically the M6, which is the 2-door coupe, but essentially shares a lot of the guts. Definitely the same drivetrain, so it shares that same V10 motor. So the E60 had a production run from late 2005, essentially called a 2006 model year, up until 2010, and in that time they produced about 20,000 machines. Now, made it to that wonderful V10 engine happened to be a 7-speed sequential manual gearbox, or as an option in North America, some people were able to opt for a 6-speed manual transmission. And if you watch one of my previous videos, you'll notice I talked about some of the oddities with that 6-speed transmission. Generally, the car came suited, designed, engineered to mate up with the 7-speed sequential manual, automated manual gearbox. So the E60 M5 uses what they call internally, they call this an S85 engine, which is shared with, like I said already, the E61 and the E63 models as well. But this engine has won numerous world awards for the Engine of the Year award because of its engineering design and output. And output, you wonder what is that output? Well, that output happens to be in the neighborhood range of 507 horsepower, 383 foot-pounds of torque, and is an odd-firing V10 engine, capable of catapulting you to 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds and run you up to 205 miles per hour. So you want a few specific specifications on this engine? Okay, how about a 5-liter V10, 10 individually fired throttle body, compression ratio of 12:1, cast aluminum block with bed plate design. Valves are actuated through non-inverting bucket cam followers. Oil-cooled cast aluminum pistons by Mahle. And Mahle, of course, produces pistons for a lot of great manufacturers like Porsche and beyond. Or forged steel crankshaft with counterweights, shared crank pins, and uneven firing of 90 or 54 degrees. It also utilizes the Vanos, in this case double Vanos system, that alters the cam timing on both the intake and exhaust valves to alter and give you better performance ranges from off idle right up through the 8250 RPM red line. It also uses knock sensors and a whole host of other features to protect the engine as well. Obviously, with a high compression ratio of 12:1, you need protection such as knock sensing. It uses a quasi-dry sump system that actually has 2 sump tanks and an electrically actuated pump that provides oil to its respective locations. It brings from one to the next. Firing order is
1, 6, 5, 10, 2, 7, 3, 8, 4, 9.
Just in case you wanted to know. You never know. A guy's doing maintenance, it never hurts to do have that kind of information. And the weight of the entire engine completely assembled is 529 pounds. Pretty light for an engine of this capacity and this size. And basically just running the straight mathematics on this whole thing, if you look at 500 brake horsepower over a capacity of 5 liters, that produces over 100 horsepower per liter of specific output, which basically means it's in that upper atmospheric range of high performance engines that are in line more of a race engine. Anything typically over 100 horsepower per liter would suggest you've got a high performance engine, something that is really engineered to maximize its specific output. So in short, this F1 derived V10 engine produced by Sauber and BMW in conjunction was obviously noted to be a superior engine in design and construction and being extremely robust other than a few of the issues, which coincidentally, everybody, follow along on my next video as well, because my next video I'm going to be talking about the failures found in the E60 M5 BMWs. And one other thing to note, when you're driving an M car like no other, obviously the E60 is no different from a lot of the M cars of previous, and they like to drink oil. Most of them are thirsty for oil. This one is no exception. So that's one thing to be noted, that you got to understand that they utilize the oil due to the tight tolerances, the high performance nature of the engine, that it requires a lot of lubrication. It will in essence consume a little bit more oil than you would normally be accustomed to in many other cars. Okay everybody, I really hope that shed some light on you why I think the E60 M5 has one of the best engines ever manufactured. Yeah, there's a lot of arguments on, in terms of could they have made it more reliable. I'm sure they probably could have, given had they made a lot more production numbers out of the car, designed it and kind of refined it over the years. But the reality in terms of the actual engineering and design and output of this engine, it is spectacularly good. And I had to share with you why this engine is so darn good. And so you guys, I really hope you do appreciate the video. Again, as always, be sure to follow, like, subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. Also, hit that notification so you are notified when my next video comes out. But again, thanks for coming by, everybody. It's Mark here checking out with Exotic Car Play Place. Bye-bye.